Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's very disturbing live stream. And before we get into the subject, just some admin. Rudy, or Roodles as he's affectionately known on this channel, has been hard at work, and a light blue screen has been added to lovinglifetv.com, our new platform that we're transitioning to. If you like what you see, oopsie, here comes Elsabe. Give me a second, guys. Hi, Elsabe.
Hi.
Are you there, Elsabe?
How are you?
Good, thank you. Look, Elsabe, I will get back to you if you just wait quietly in the background. And when I say hi, we'll get you on. I'm just introducing the subject. Okay, you can listen in. Okay, Elsabe?
Hi.
Okay, I'll be with you very shortly.
See me? Okay.
Just stay there in the background, okay? All right. Sorry, guys, that's Elsabe just Skyping in. Okay, so as I was saying, if you like the light blue screen...
Sorry for the delay, but I need to...
Yeah, that's okay. When I next address you, Elsabe, if we can start talking then. I'm just talking to everybody live at the moment. Okay, so getting back to the test light blue screen, if you like what you see, please type 1 in the side chat. If you don't, please type 2 in the side chat. There are also 2 new lengthy videos about vaccines on Loving Life TV that I would like you to share with family and friends and on Facebook, etc. They are very important and very disturbing, especially as the vaccine impacts pregnant women, and you can guess how. They are not on YouTube as they would be taken down. Tonight's subject is very disturbing and has serious allegations that have been made against a large number of South African Police Service police who allegedly tried to murder a white farmer, Flippie van Dyk, on his farm earlier this year. They are allegedly tied up with the economic freedom fighters and spurred on by the lack of action by government authorities against blatant hate speech by Julius Malema. Over 70 farmers have been murdered this year by black thugs. In the case of Brendan Horner, the 21-year-old tortured and murdered in the Free State, there are allegations police were involved in that horrible crime as well. We covered the Senekal protests earlier this year when the accused were seeking bail. Once again, the EFF showed up and caused racial division without any action being taken against them by police. Tonight's live stream is a very disturbing story. It involves the brutal practice of slow puncture in a prison cell while police watched and laughed. It gets worse. The problem with Flippie is that there are so many incidents and the onslaught is so severe. One must try to keep the different issues apart. There are 15 open dockets in this matter. 15! The main issue is that the squatters on land adjacent to him try to drive him from his farm. Most of his neighbors already have abandoned their farms, and the new farmers just move on. They do not respect ownership or title deeds. These squatters are EFF members who are supported by EFF politicians and EFF policemen. All right, now our guest tonight is Elsabe Juyne, who knows Flippie well. Flippie is in a very fragile mental state and cannot be with us tonight. After the live stream, I will put up a video in which Elsabe interviews Flippie about these incidents. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed and ask any questions you may have in the side chat. I will now get Elsabe on. Here we go. Hi, Elsabe. Hi, Elsabe. You can talk now.
Hear me, Scott?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, I can. So, how is your day gone?
Scott?
Yes, I can hear you, Elsabe. Hello, Elsabe.
But I'll try my best. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, Elsabe. Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Elsabe? Sorry, guys.
Now.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So we're hearing
Hear
each
me?
other. I can hear you perfectly. Thank you. Okay, Elsabe, let's get started. How did you meet Flippie? Elsabe?
Flippie?
Yes, Elsabe. How did you meet Flippie?
Hello?
Hello, Elsabe.
I didn't meet him. I didn't meet Flippie before, or I heard of him attacked. And Patriots for Minorities got him and decided to.
Sorry, I lost part of that. Patriots and Minorities got involved. What happened?
After he decided to assist
Okay.
problems. So,
Yeah.
everything there.
Okay, Elsabe, if the internet doesn't perform well, I'm going to ask you in a minute to turn off your camera, so we'll just have your voice, because that'll probably come through better. Now, with your approval, I'll be posting up later tonight the lengthy interview you had with Flippie a few weeks ago. Are you happy with that? Elsabe?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now, how is Flippie doing?
You can use it.
Thank you, Elsabe, that's great. Now, how is Flippie doing physically and mentally right now?
Physically, he's in his middle 60s.
Yeah.
Also doing. I went through what he went through.
Yeah, what he went through was absolutely shocking.
To be calmed down from.
Yeah. Now, I used to
but he can't.
Yeah, I used to visit Scottburgh for holidays. It has a beautiful beach and lies about 60 kilometers south of Durban. Now it has at least one terrible secret, which we will be discussing tonight. Internet holding, hopefully. How did Flippie come to farm in Scottburgh district, Elsabe?
He was born and raised in Kwazulu Natal.
Right.
A Zulu missionary. Very small to speak Zulu
Right.
language. And he black people because they always and the black people was he loved Natal.
Right.
He took his pension.
I think what I might do, Elsabe, is I might just stop this call and call you again, see if we get a better line, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to call you straight back, so just wait for the call. Hi, Elsabe.
I'm back.
Okay, let's hope this time we get a better link. Okay, so let me go back to that question. How is Flippy doing physically and mentally?
He's doing well. Under the circumstances, I think he's doing pretty well.
Right, well, we're going to go through those circumstances shortly. And what he's gone through is absolutely terrible. Now, let's get back to this question. How did Flippy come to farm in Scottburgh district?
He grew up in Natal.
Yeah.
Retired there. So after he went on pension, he bought this farm. It's next to the Unkuma's River. About
You said about?
Hello.
Hi, Elsabe. How far is it from Scottburgh?
I want to try another.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Louis, die camera is af.
Kyk gou op my foon.
Kom ons probeer net weer die kode want ek het my rekenaar.
Well, while Elsabe's sorting that out, I've just had a Skype message from Angelo Agrisi, who has said that he's looking forward to being on a live stream with us shortly. And apparently he's starting to recover. I'm just going to try and reconnect with Elsabe because we're having issues here with the internet, guys. Let's just try again. They're probably just, I think they're using another form of internet connection. The one that they're trying is not working well at all. So we'll just hang in there and see what happens. So isn't that exciting? Angelo's just Skyped me. Angelo Agrisi. And yeah, I look forward to talking to him. Okay, let's keep trying. Normally we get these sort of things fixed. We've had these sort of issues several times in the past where a guest has a problem with the internet, but it normally comes back. I'd say they're probably moving from one form of internet connection to another. And that's why there's no connection. Here we are. Now we seem to be on.
Okay, I have another connection. Is it better?
Much better. That is so much better.
Oh, great. So I can put on the camera now.
Yeah, put on the camera and let's see how we go.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, there you
Sorry
are.
about.
That's okay.
Sorry about. I'm staying in the Bosveld, very deep in the bush, so it's difficult.
It's all okay. It's all okay.
I'm on a neighbor's phone now.
Now, okay. We were talking about how Flippie came to farm in the Scottburgh district. How long ago did he buy that farm, and did he know there were issues when he bought it?
No, he didn't know there were issues. He's there for 7 years now. But the problem started shortly after he moved there. He didn't realize the problem until he bought the farm and moved into the farm.
Right. Now, what did he farm on the farm before things started going pear-shaped?
Okay, he's farming with macadamia nuts, and he has rose geraniums from which he extracts essential oils.
Right. And what happened to those crops?
They chased the cattle. Well, the first they removed all his fences, and they sold the fences for scrap metal.
Huh.
And quite often they chase in the cattle into. Oh, he has coffee as well, into his coffee lands and into the rose geraniums. And he says they trample everything, and then the irrigation looks like spaghetti. You know, he has to redo everything after the cattle have been there. So they are ruining his harvest every time.
And this is deliberate, isn't it?
Deliberate. I did an affidavit for his wife about a month ago, where she was busy pruning the macadamia nuts. And she heard a lot of screaming, and she thought, okay, it's on the farm next door, and she ignored it. And the next moment, she heard a stampede. And they chased the whole herd of cattle straight onto her to trample her.
Wow.
And she had a pistol with her, and she started shooting in their direction, and running and shooting and running and shooting until she reached the bakkie, and she got into the bakkie in a terrible shock. And then afterwards they laid complaints that she shot or she hurt 2 cattle. But she didn't aim to hurt the cattle, you know, she ran for her life.
Yeah, she was saving her own life, exactly. Now, so the trouble first started shortly after Flippie moved onto his new farm that he had paid for. He had the title deed for.
Yeah, he has the title deed, and he bought it out of his pension money.
Right.
Now, a lot of people saying, why don't he pack up and move away like his neighbors?
That's his pension.
Everything he has is invested in that farm. If he moves away, he loses his whole pension. You know, he can't just pack up and go.
Yeah. So tell me, how was Flippie first intimidated? Was it by ruining his crops? And is this because the EFF want to take his land? Because I think the way I understand it is that it's members of the EFF who've moved onto the farms that they've literally taken over from other farmers in the past. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I don't know each and everyone's political orientation. But I suppose there are EFF members because they are supported by the EFF politicians and EFF police. The one incident, the one video I posted, which I suppose you saw the video, where they stole his pump of 70,000 rand.
Oh.
When the police came, they were joined by the EFF in their nice red overalls, and they protested the EFF right in front of his gate, and the police allowed the thieves to take the pump with them to keep the peace.
So what you're saying in effect is that the police are in cahoots with not only the people illegally squatting on the farms neighboring, but also with the EFF.
Yes, they are. A lot of the police are EFF members, and they are open about it. The other problem is some of the family of the police is staying on this neighboring farms. They have family there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's where we start getting really complicated. It's a total loss in Unkomaas. But I must tell you, I experienced
totally different situation in Scottburgh. The police in Scottburgh is so friendly, and they try to protect us, and they try to make life easier for us and everything. But his farm doesn't fall under Scottburgh. It falls under Unkuma's police. It's only Scottburgh Magistrates Court.
Right.
So he has to deal with Unkuma's every time. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So let's move on to how the police have actually basically tried to tear Flippie apart. And I want to go back to his forced arrest 5 years ago and his terrible experience of being raped again and again overnight in a police holding cell. Can you tell us the background to that? And look, I want to talk about slow puncture after you've spoken, because I've heard about this, and this is just a classic example of something that happens in police cells that a lot of South Africans are not aware of and don't believe. So please tell us what happened to Flippie, right?
It was, well, there was an incident where he drove on his farm. There were a lot of people on his farm protesting, trespassing, harassing him, shouting at him, everything. So he drove to see what was going on, and he drove past them. But he didn't touch anybody or hurt anybody. And then they laid a false claim that he drove over a child. But the child was not hurt or anything, but they laid the false charge. So he was prosecuted for attempted murder. And he lost the case in the magistrate's court. And then he appealed, and he was acquitted on appeal. But the evening when they arrested him, they put in 16 black people in his cell. He was not sure if it was also people that are accused or if they were handpicked to do the job. But all 16 of them raped him.
And that was overnight?
Night. Overnight, yes. And he screamed, and nobody came to help him. Nobody.
Were the police watching, as they sometimes do?
No, they didn't watch, but they placed the people there with the intention that... Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just explain to people what slow puncture is all about. And Willie Jordan, who's one of our friendly lawyers on this channel, he can tell you he's represented people who have gone through slow puncture. Now, this is not a fallacy. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is happening in South Africa right now. For the record, this disgusting practice by police is called slow puncture. And that's its name in the prison system. And it is widely practiced across South Africa. Police arrest a targeted white man on a trumped-up charge. They put him in a holding cell, then bring in hardened black criminals who take turns to rape the man, often while police watch and egg them on from the outside. The next morning, charges are dropped against the arrested man. Well, in Flippie's case, they weren't, and he is sent away. This practice is called slow puncture and normally results in the victim getting HIV. The victims are normally too traumatized and embarrassed to lodge a criminal complaint. And I'm not making this crap up. This is happening in South Africa today on a regular basis. Now, you mentioned about this trumped-up charge that he faced about running over a child. When he went to court, he was found guilty, and apparently his firearm was taken off him, wasn't it?
Yeah, his firearm was taken off in the beginning. They wanted to test ballistic. They wanted to do ballistic tests. I suppose it has something to do with his wife that shot, fired shots at the cattle. Maybe the reason is not very clear, but they did ballistic tests on the pistol. What happened is they used the wrong ammunition, and now you must excuse me, Scott, because I'm not a weapon expert.
That's okay.
But you get a 38 special and you get a normal 38. And the one bullet is longer than the other one. You don't use the same bullets in a 38 special and a 38. And they fired a shot with the wrong ammunition. and the pistol is ruined. You can't use it anymore.
Right. So that's what
It's
they
broken.
did to his gun.
Yeah, it's broken and it's still in their possession. When he went to fetch it after the court case, he saw that it was broken and he gave it back, and he told them to fix it. And now nobody knows where the weapon is. It's missing, but it's still with the police somewhere.
This is the Umkomaas police, just so we understand this. This is the Scottburgh police are great, but the Umkomaas police are a load of crap.
Yes, and I think that was an attempt to disarm him. You know.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
Doesn't have a firearm now. Yeah, now he's
Yeah.
alone on the farm without a firearm. Yeah.
That is absolutely extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Now, tell us what happened regarding him being raped. Did he ever actually raise that in court?
He did, but nothing came of it. Unfortunately, we didn't represent him at that stage. Now, I don't want to brag about it, but we won't let it get passed without a civil claim. We're trying to institute a claim now, but it's 5 years ago, and claims against the police prescribe within 3 years. So if we were successful, I don't know, but we'll try to get something for him. But we definitely have a civil claim for the attack by the 20 policemen.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Okay,
Yeah.
so now
Well, he was acquitted. He was acquitted, and after he is acquitted, his criminal record should be wiped. You know,
yeah,
he
now
has
let's talk about that. So when you say he was acquitted for this charge where they took his firearm because apparently he had ridden over a child.
Yeah, and the High Court found that there was no evidence to prove that he committed the crime at all. He was not guilty.
You know what that particular trial sounds like? The first one, like there's two, the coffin two. You know, those two young white men who were in prison for years over attempted murder and all sorts of trumped-up charges. This is how biased and corrupt a large part of the new judicial system in South Africa is. Now, I know there's some fantastic magistrates, and especially I think the old school magistrates who predate 1994. I mean, I don't see them having any problems with their integrity, but some of these new kids on the block, they're clearly racist in their rulings. There's absolutely no question in my mind about that.
Well, I don't know if there's a family relation, but the magistrate's surname is Cele, the same as the minister.
Bekkezele. Oh gosh, you never know, do you?
Excuse me?
You never know, do you?
Yeah, well, our prosecutor is now Cele.
Yeah.
In the
Oh
news.
my gosh.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a cancer, isn't it? Now,
Handpicked.
no, as you say, he was actually cleared of this criminal charge, and that should have meant that his criminal record should have been cleaned, but it wasn't. What happened?
Well, he asked them to clean it several times. They are just laughing at him. He has a child that stays in Australia and another child that stays in America, and he can't visit his children because he can't get visums to go and visit them.
Because of his criminal record.
Yes,
Oh.
he's stuck in South Africa. So we brought in a High Court application now against the Minister of Police to compel him to remove the criminal records, to clean his criminal record. So we're busy with that in the High Court in Pretoria.
Now, look, it's quite clear why he's been singled out. It's because he's got a piece of land that someone's obviously been told that he can have it when they get rid of this white man. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to intimidate him. And think they really turned it up a few notches in June this year, didn't they? What led up to the brutal attack by 20 police? I'm talking about, not by thugs, I'm talking about, well, they are thugs, but I'm talking about 20 police that came onto his property and tried to kill him. What led up to that?
Nothing.
So it was totally
Nothing.
unprovoked.
It was unprovoked. He didn't expect it. So his doors were not even locked. You know, he wasn't prepared for it. when he heard the first vehicle, he thought it was his wife that's coming to give him a surprise visit, you know. But they came in with 4 vehicles. They broke down the gate at the boundary of his farm.
They
Then
broke down the gate.
Yeah, at the boundary.
They didn't phone him to say we're coming around?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
They broke down the gate at the boundary. Then they entered the farm, and he has another fence around the house. They broke down that gate as well. And then they came in.
We're talking about police here. We're not talking about a group of armed thugs. Well, we are, but anyway, you carry on.
No, they had uniforms on.
Wow.
They were all in uniform. And they were accompanied by the station commander of Unkuma's police station.
Okay, so what happened when he went out to see what was going on?
He didn't went out. They stormed into his house and they start hitting him with R5 automatic assault weapons. They kicked him when he was lying on the ground. Amongst other things, they stepped onto his hearing aid and broke it. So presently we have difficulty in court because he can't hear properly, but the police broke his hearing aid. Yeah, and most of the injuries was on his head. He suffered severe head injuries. Just before they came in, he called his wife. Not because they came in, it was just a coincidence he called his wife. So when they entered, he was live on the phone with his wife. She's a matron at a private hospital in some other town in Natal. Sorry, I can't get to the name now.
That's okay.
But so he called her, and his phone was on. So she could hear the entrance and the assault and how they kicked him and how they hit them and everything. And then they stepped on his phone and broke his phone. And when that happened, she called his friend in Unkuma's, which is about 20 kilometers from there, and tell him, you better rush to the farm, they're busy killing Flippy. And he got in his car and he rushed there. And when he came in, they immediately stopped. And he heard them saying, hier kom 'n wit man. Here's a white man coming. And the attack immediately stopped, but they left them there for dead because of the head injuries. During the attack, Scott, and that's very depressing, they kept on asking him, where's his wife? And he said, she's at work, and they keep on asking. And at one stage, the one guy said, we want your wife. We want to have sex with her so she can raise our children. Oh. Now, this lady is in her mid-60s.
They're just disgusting.
It's disgusting, yeah. They told him to go back.
And these are police.
It's police.
We need to be clear. This is South African Police Service police. Bekesele, you're a friggin' disgrace. Sorry, carry on. He is.
They told him that he doesn't belong there. He must go back to Holland, where he was coming from. But as I told you earlier, he was born in Natal. He was raised in Natal. He was raised in Kwazulu Natal, amongst, that really Zulu area. His father was a missionary there. So he was raised amongst them. It's his land. It's his country. But
no, he's got
it's very, very vulgar. But that's what happened, you know, and that's the way they talk to people.
Well, they don't have a moral compass, that's for sure. Now, Flippy's got several dogs, hasn't he? What happened with his dogs when the police came?
Okay, I don't know what you call it in English. It's a sort of a bomb, but it makes just a huge noise. They use it in riots to drive the people.
Oh, it's a big dog, like a bull mastiff or like a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Something like that. It's
huge bull mastiffs. The male dog, the eldest male dog, weighed 80 kilograms. It's
Wow.
huge dogs. And the eldest one costs 50,000 rand. They breed it, these bull mastiffs. It's pedigree dogs. And they sold the puppies for 10,000 rand each. You know, it's highly pedigreed dogs.
And they're good for protection.
They're there for protection, but they are very, very well trained. I stayed over at Flippie's place quite a few times when I went down for the court case. I stayed on the farm to save costs. And I'm very scared of dogs. And they're very, very friendly dogs. You know, they are trained. They're not attacking dogs. They're friendly dogs. You know, they're so happy when you get there. You know, are you coming to visit me sort of attitude. It's nice dogs. But the police thrown bombs at them. And I don't know what you call that bombs. It's a thunder bomb.
Oh,
it
it's
makes
like
a lot of,
it just makes a loud noise.
a very loud noise, but it doesn't,
doesn't hurt.
kill anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they throw that bomb in between the dogs to get to chase them away because they didn't want to get off the vehicles with these dogs around them.
Yeah.
And they also hit the dogs with their assault weapons. The eldest dog, the male dog, he died about a month ago. And the bitch is lame in her hind part. She has no control over her bowels and urine, and she drags her back.
So her
Body.
thigh has been
Hind.
broken.
Well, they tried to see if she's going to recover, but I don't have any hope that she will recover. It's very sad to see how that dog looks. So they kept one puppy from one of the litters, and but he's only 1 year old. He's not trained yet and everything, and that's the only guard dog he has now. And he has a small Jack Russell as well, and that's all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. These were all, these 20 police, were they all from the Umkomaas police station?
No. Well, he recognized the station commander, but they all had balaclavas on. You know, these full masks.
Yeah.
Now, it happened in the lockdown period, so they have an excuse to have these masks on, but they couldn't recognize everybody. But I asked for an investigation by IPID, that's the Independent Police Investigation Division.
Right.
It's an independent body that investigate corruption and mishaps of the police. And the guy that did the investigation was very, very helpful. He's very efficient. He confirmed that it was 20 policemen, but they mostly came from Limpopo and a few of them came from Klerksdorp, which is totally other provinces. They were just, I think they were concentrated in Kwazulu Natal during that lockdown period when they experienced a lot of trouble in Kwazulu Natal. So it's not local police, but they acted under the command of the local police.
Right. No, Michelle says those explosives they set off are called flashbangs.
Flashbangs.
There you go. Okay. Now, was there any media coverage of this brutal attack on Flippie?
Not much. What happened is after he recovered in hospital, he put a video on Facebook to tell his story. And another civil rights organization said he must be, he mustn't go on Facebook if he's under the influence of liquor. That's how they reacted to it.
Oh.
And that caused a lot of people not believing what happened. And that's why it's so good for me that the IPID found the 20 policemen. Because, you know, reality is sometimes stranger than fiction, and in this case it is. You can't believe if there's a farm murder, they can't find policemen to come and investigate the farm murder.
Yeah.
But they can send 20 policemen. when he returned back from hospital, he found a warrant on his bed. They placed a warrant there. And the warrant was for malicious damage to property. But there's no charge against him whatsoever for malicious damage to property.
Okay, let's get back to that in a minute, because there are a few other questions I want to ask you before we get on to that side of things. And just to say, you represent the organization Patriots for Minorities, which do a fantastic job. Now, okay, so how has this incident affected Flippie mentally and physically? I mean, he must be an absolute basket case after all this.
Well, he's very fit for his age.
Yeah.
He's a good swimmer, I know. Since his university days, I think he was a South African swimmer on his days. So he's the kind of guy that keeps fit, you know.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he's old, he's physically fit. And he works hard on his farm, and he can walk up the hill. I can just watch, you know. I can't join him. So he's absolutely fit. And he stays on the farm, and he's not terrified to stay on the farm. So in that aspect, I think he's mentally strong, because how do you keep on staying there and you're not terrified? But he is a religious man. He believes in God, and he believes that God protects him, you know. So I think that gives a lot of comfort. But he was treated by a neurosurgeon and a psychiatrist and everything, because they operated on his brain, and he had a lot of doctors attending to this. And they do believe that he has a bit of brain damage after that. But it's not so severe that you can immediately pick it up. He's a very bright guy. He has several degrees, and he was in a very senior position when he was working. You can even see in the videos he's quite intelligent, you know. It's not a stupid fool. Yeah. Now,
okay, let's get back to the IPID have actually uncovered who the 20 police involved were. So you've got the names of the attackers that had this unprovoked attack on his farm.
I don't have it, but the IPID got their names, their ranks, even the registration number of the vehicles they came to the farm with, and their reservations in the hotel. So they have all their details.
So they were booked into local hotels so that they could attack an innocent farmer.
Well, they had duties in Natal, and they misused it, but but they can't charge them with this conduct, because they are on sick leave and long leave and special leave and everything you can think of. They can't get hold of them to get statements from them. At this stage.
So that's the excuse.
They won't get away. You can just take so much leave, and then you have to return to work some other time.
So has Becky Sally been contacted about this incident?
No, we didn't.
I think you should write him a letter and see what comes back, because I think there's the problem.
We're suing him.
Good.
We talked to him. We talked to him through court papers.
Okay.
Scott, do you really believe that an arrogant person like Becky Shelley will have any regard to any letter written to him? We just take him to court.
Yeah, but it would be interesting to see if he responded, what he wrote in his response. That's why I'm only saying that. Now, what is the EFF's role in all this? You know, we keep on talking about the EFF.
The EFF is quite active in the area. Some of the police are EFF members, some of the community are EFF members, and they are every time supported by the EFF. The EFF come to court every time we appear in court, and they protest outside court, they protest inside the court. In October, during that hearing, they throw me and the advocate from the stairs. They bumped into us so we can fall from the stairs.
Wow.
Now you can see I'm not young anymore, but the advocate is 10 years older than I am. So, you know, they are young, fit people, and they have no respect for the legal team. They want to demonstrate their disrespect towards us. Yeah.
Well, they did the same to AfroForum in that court case against Julius Malema a few weeks ago. Now, I just want to address, we've got about 600 people watching right now. I just want to address people watching. If you've got questions you'd like to ask Elsabe, please just put them in the side chat, and in a short while I'll start putting those to Elsabe. Okay, so what action has Flippie taken in the courts about this? And obviously we mentioned about the slow puncture. He's got a civil action happening there, but what action has he taken against the police about what happened in June this year?
Well, that is another civil claim. It has nothing to do with the puncture, and the puncture didn't happen this time. So he has a civil claim against them for the attack, the assault, the damages, the medical costs, the legal costs, everything that came from that. We also have, separate from the main action, we have this application now where we ask the police to clear his criminal record, which should have been cleared long time ago. What happened now is the police has another trumped up charge against him to cover up and to say they had reason to enter his home, and they came because of this docket. And that is running now in Scottburgh, and that's why we travel every time to Scottburgh, is for that court case where Flippie is the accused once again. Actually, he's the victim, but he's charged.
Well, what's he accused of?
Okay, what happened today is there was another trespasser on his land, and he was hiding behind the bush, and guys broke down Flippie's gate, and he went down to fix the gate. But it was late afternoon, and suddenly this guy jumped out beside the bush with a panga, and he started hitting Flippie with a panga, cutting him with, it's a slasher, so he attacked him with the panga. And the dogs came and they hauled the attacker. They didn't bite him, but you know, if a dog holds you, the teeth goes in, but he wasn't torn like a vicious bite. They just hold him, so he couldn't attack Flippie. And then this guy went to the police.
Okay, now I've actually got the charges here. I'm just going to read out what those charges are. Okay, so the situation here. He was attacked by a trespasser on his property with a panga or slasher. His dogs defended him, and now he is charged with 1. Assault to cause grievous bodily harm by using dogs. 2. Criminal injuria because he called his attacker Zimbabwean, a foreigner, and the K word. And we have a good explanation why he did not use the word or would ever use the word. And that just really sinks away into nothingness compared to what this man has gone through. And then 3, the third charge is that he keeps dangerous dogs. If he is found guilty on this charge, the court can make an order to put his dogs out. He has no protection on his farm anymore. Now, that is just absolutely extraordinary. Just Carrie, tell us about those charges and how you're going to fight these charges.
Okay, the dog bite isn't a problem. It was on his private property. It was a trespasser, and the dogs did exactly what they are trained for, to protect their owner. They didn't exceed the normal reaction of that dogs would exceed. So I don't think he will be guilty on that. The second charge, he admits that he called this guy a foreigner and a Zimbabwean because the guy spoke English to him, and everybody in the community speak Zulu.
Right.
And if they talk to him, they talk in Zulu because he's fluent in Zulu.
Right.
So suddenly this guy started talking English, and he thought he must be a foreigner or Zimbabwean because he can't talk Zulu in Zululand, you know. So that's why I called him a foreigner and a Zimbabwean. Funny, during the last court proceedings, the advocate asked him, so what's wrong with a foreigner and a Zimbabwean? And he said, no, they're good people. And the advocate says, so why don't you like to be called a foreigner and a Zimbabwean if they're good people? It's not an insult. Okay, but for the K word, Flippy he hates the K word since his childhood.
Right.
Because his father was a missionary amongst the blacks.
Right.
The white children called him a K missioner's child. He was called that word as a child.
Yeah.
And he hates it so much, he never used it once in his life. But that will come out in his evidence, that he didn't call him that word, yeah.
Right. Now, I just want to again address, we've got well over 600 people watching right now. Just so everybody knows, Loving Life is transitioning off YouTube for very good reasons. We have a new platform called Loving Life TV, one word, lovinglifetv.com. Please bookmark and register on that site because that is where we're going to be moving. It's a fantastic site. It's got a huge number of contributors. Other YouTube channels will be participating as well, also with a focus on South Africa and related international events. Okay, now getting back to the situation. Oh, and don't forget, guys, to subscribe to the Loving Life channel because this will be staying open for a long time as well. And also, please put your questions for Elsabe in the side chat so I can put those to her. Okay, so let's look specifically at Flippy's situation. He's getting no response from the media. I mean, you haven't had, for example, Enka coming along to investigate why 20 police would be attacking a farmer on an unprovoked basis, have you?
No, but I think people don't believe his story, unfortunately. That's his biggest problem. People don't believe it. And I can tell you, it's every word of it, it's true. And I've been there. I've seen the fields. I've seen the farm. I've seen the expression on the people's faces. I can tell you it's true. But people don't want to believe his story and they don't want to publish false information. Right.
But it is quite extraordinary that the media just, let's put it this way. If that had been the shoe on the other foot, and you know what I'm talking about, I mean, this would have been all over the news, not just in South Africa. It would have been on the news in Australia. It would have been on the news in Japan. It would have been on the news everywhere. But because it's a white farmer literally being pounded to pieces by 20 police in his own home, it doesn't bear mentioning. Isn't that extraordinary?
It is. You know, they after the attack, they swept the yard. They fired so many shots with the automatic guns, and when his friend came to the farm after he took him to hospital, he tried to get shells from the guns so he can have proof of, and they cleaned that whole yard. There wasn't tracks of vehicles, there were no tracks of shoes, and there were no bullet casings left. They swept that place clean. Now, Scott, if Flippy died and his friend Fani didn't come,
he would have died if Fani hadn't come.
Yeah, he would have, definitely. And it would just have been another farm attack, and nobody would have known that it was done by police. It would just become one of the statistics. But he lived, so he can tell it's police that's attacking the farmers.
Yeah. Now, doesn't he fear for his life now because he is basically a man with a huge target on his back?
Yeah, he does. But he's cautious.
Yeah. And it's
But they
funny
can come back.
because I just had a Skype message come through at the very start of this live stream from Angelo Agrisi, who is basically the whistleblower at the Zondo Commission. And
Yeah.
he was Skyping me to let me know that, things are getting better. And we're hoping to have him on the live stream, hopefully early in the new year. But we'll see what happens there. But it was lovely to hear from Angelo because he's also got a huge target on his back. Okay, so now priorities for minorities. You are legally supporting Flippie, and that's fantastic. Have any of the other organizations like AfroForum or Solidarity or any of these other come forward and said, hey, we'd like to come in and help as well?
Well, he was a member of AfroForum for 15 years. He contributed for 15 years. He was also a member of Solidarity, and he contributed to them. And he also contributed to Help in the Hand, which is the
it's the charity.
Charity part of
Yes,
the same
yes, we've had them
organization.
on the live stream, yeah.
So he contributed to all three of them for 15 years.
Right.
And after this happened, he contacted them, he asked for help, and they were the organization that said he mustn't go onto YouTube if he has drinking, if he's under the influence of alcohol.
What? No, someone's got brain issues, or they've got brain damage. That can also cause people to sound.
Yeah, well, he was still in hospital, so maybe he was a little bit slow, but
Well, he was on drugs.
But he said the comments were so bad that even some of his friends and his family doubted him. He feels very sad because his family is coming to Natal to have a holiday, but they don't see their way open to come and visit him on the farm. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to follow the story very closely, and Elsabe, look, just get in touch with Marlena every time something happens you'd like to get exposure for, and we will happily give you a platform here on Loving Life.
Okay, we're coming back to court in February, the 16th, 17th, and the 18th of February. The matter is postponed to that date. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, look, we'll certainly, and if we can, we'd like to live cover some of the events on those days. If you have your mobile phone with you, perhaps you can be our citizen reporter at the courthouse.
I will be accompanied by my two co-directors, Marius Kurtse and Wessel Basson. They said they would join me.
Right.
So they can concentrate on the coverage, because it's very difficult to protect Flippie against attacks of the EFF.
Yeah.
And get into the court myself. I had a lot of practice to step in between the EFF and clients in the past, because I also did the coffin case, and there I get used to protecting those guys between the protesters, yeah. But it's the same thing some days, yeah, in Natal. They try to attack him and I have to protect him. So there's not much time to take a video unless you want to lose your phone as well. But as I say, I'm joined next time by my co-directors. I asked them to join me because it's tough, It's not an easy case. It's not easy circumstances, and it's tough to cope with everything there. Yeah.
So what charges are you taking against the police specifically in this action?
It's not charges. It's a plain civil claim for money. Damages. We claim for damages.
Okay, so it's going through the civil courts.
It's no charges.
Okay.
The disciplinary action that must be taken against the policeman will be done by IPID. It's not a private thing. They will be disciplinary heard or charged by IPID, yes.
But as you say, the 20 police involved in the attack on this guy in his farmhouse, these police, are all now on sick leave, and they're this, that, and the other, and so they're refusing to give affidavits.
Trauma leave, can you believe it?
Trauma leave for what?
For the severe trauma they experienced.
Yeah, but when they nearly killed a white farmer.
Yeah, well, they didn't succeed, so
that's probably why they got trauma. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That is absolutely extraordinary. Okay, look, I'm just checking to see if there are any questions in the side chat, but just to summarize what we've been talking about here for the people who've only just joined us, we're talking about a white farmer who lives just in the Umkomaas area, but he's very close to Scottsville, about 15 kilometers from Scottburgh, on the south coast of Kwazulu Natal, just south of Durban. And he's on the Umkomaas River. And there's a bunch of EFF supporters who've occupied farms alongside his farm, and they're trying to drive him out by intimidation, by ruining his crops. And now they've got the police involved, and in June this year 20 police came uninvited onto his farm, unprovoked, and nearly killed this man. And now they're claiming charges against him. It is quite extraordinary, and the media have not touched it, apart from what, the local media at Scottburgh?
Yeah, the lady of the local newspaper, she's there every time. What a nice lady.
But that's the only coverage you ever get? Yeah,
the local newspaper. Yeah, she's coming there.
Wow.
She followed the case.
Wow. Now, Elsabe, is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to cover?
No, I think we covered everything. The matter is still pending. I hate to ask, but we need funds.
So no, that's fine. That's fine.
If anybody has money that they don't know what to do with, please give it to us, because we sponsor this case mostly out of our own pockets, and we are not very rich.
Yeah.
So we need funding. My banking account number is on our website, and our website name is www.Patriots SA for South Africa, patriotsa.org. O-R-G.
Okay, look, I'll put that in the side chat, so if anyone is able to help you financially, if you could just go to this website and, any contributions be greatly appreciated. So
okay, it's our emails are there, our phone numbers are there, and the banking account. So all the details can be found on the website.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've got a question here from ICAT. And she asks, where are we? Do you think the police terrorists who attacked him, well, there are 20 of them, who attacked him will be arrested, or will the racist courts let them go?
I think they will be internally charged by the police itself. If we lay a charge of assault against them, it won't be prosecuted. They will just be let go. So we hope that the disciplinary proceedings inside the police will punish them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, I saw some very disturbing footage at Senekal, where in the Senekal courthouse, when they had those big protests about those two people seeking bail after Brendan Horner was murdered, you had sitting in the courthouse side by side talking to each other, Julius Malema and Bekesele. Now,
yes, I also saw that.
Yeah. Now, this really raises a question. When you actually take the civil action, can't you check to see from IPID if any of those 20 police officers are members of the Economic Freedom Fighters? And if they are, then can't you attach them into the civil case with charges for what happened on that day?
I don't think it will be successful to make that link. I think in the Colini case, the politicians had a huge influence.
Yeah.
in the outcome of that criminal matter. And we had a discussion 2 weeks ago when those two were acquitted by the Supreme Court of Appeal.
We're talking about the coffin case.
No, the one in Kulini, the one with the sunflower seeds.
Ah.
You know, but yeah, those guys will have claims against the politicians because that thing was orchestrated right through by politicians. Yeah.
So, in your view, as someone who works in the courts, there's clearly political influence and interference into the court system, isn't there, at all levels?
Yeah, we experience a lot of hostility from the interpreters in this case, and especially from the prosecutor. She's so rude with our advocate. But I must tell you, I really have hope for this case because I don't want to anticipate the magistrate, and I don't want to lay words in his mouth or influence him or anything. But what I experienced from the magistrate up until now is that he's a very reasonable, very fair and open-minded. You know, he's listening to this case to make a good decision. He's not politically influenced. So maybe this case will go better than the previous one.
Well, let's hope so. All right.
Yeah, it's an Indian man. The present magistrate is not. It's an Indian man. If I may be a little bit racist, it's not a black man. No, that's not racist.
That's not racist at all. Yeah, but look, I take my hat off to you, Elsabe, because you know, the work that you're doing through Patriots for Minorities is fantastic. I've said for a long time on this channel now that there is a genocide effectively taking place against the minorities in South Africa, and I'm not just saying the white population. I think the coloured and the Indian population are also being targeted. I think it's quite disgusting what this ANC government are doing.
Yeah. You know, some things are placed on your road. God brings stuff to you.
Yeah.
And all He expects from each and every one of us is to use whatever He gives you to make the most of it. The biggest problem in South Africa is people get these opportunities, but they are too scared to act on whatever they get. Lawyers are too scared to take a political case like this because it will have a bad influence on their practice, you know, or they get a target on their back or whatever. And people in South Africa are scared. People in South Africa doesn't have hope anymore. People in South Africa doesn't have any prospects anymore, and that is like a cancer that's going through the people. And we just have to stand up and stand together, and we can make a difference.
Okay, now Donnie Skuman has just said, my uncle is a magistrate in Scottburgh. Now, Donnie, can you point your uncle towards this live stream? And I guess he can't speak to Elsabe direct because that compromised situation. But I think if the magistrates in Scottburgh heard what Elsabe had to say tonight, that might just wake them up to what's going on.
I don't want the magistrate to hear me because I don't want to influence him on this matter. I don't think he will watch it, and it's best if his attention is not drawn to us because this matter is still sub judice. Okay. You know, so I like the magistrate. He's a gentleman. He's a nice guy, but yeah. I don't want to bring him into the videos.
Well, yeah. You know, I have to tell you, Elsabe, that we have had so many miracles on this channel this year, and I mean, fair dinkum miracles happen on this channel.
I know.
I just find extraordinary the things that happen, the people that watch, what goes on. It's quite extraordinary.
I follow your channel. You remember the matter of Isak van Zyl?
Yes.
I brought that High Court application to get the order to get his medical records released at the provincial hospital.
Oh,
So
wow.
we move on the same road, me and you, Scott.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that was one of the miracles. But for those people who don't know what happened, Isaac had suffered several heart attacks, and the public hospital, I've forgotten what the name is. You'd know the name, Elsabe.
Yeah, Steve Biko Hospital.
Steve Biko
yes.
Hospital. That's where he was going to have to go, and we had a special live stream for him the night before, and over 400,000 rand was raised by people listening, and that covered his expenses to go to a private hospital, and so he was kept out of the public hospital system. And that to me was a complete and utter miracle. I mean, that's a huge amount of money, and the generosity of the Loving Life family is quite extraordinary.
It's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we've had.
No, so
Yeah.
Patriots for Minorities is doing a lot of stuff. As I say, we acted in the coffin matter. We did the appeal, and we got him out on parole, and we sent food for the animals in the Eastern Cape with that terrible drought. We sent lorries with feeding material for the cattle. And in COVID, we feed families that didn't have food. So it's not only legal cases. We do a lot of legal work, but we help people wherever we can. We're busy with a trauma assistance with a farmer that was attacked in the Koster area. He was also a farm attack, and he was stabbed with a knife 9 times,
Wow.
3 times in his lungs, 4 times in his intestines. He was 3 months in hospital. He nearly died, and he didn't get any support from anybody. When we met him later, he was a wreck.
Yeah.
And we are busy putting him through trauma therapy. We're paying for it in order for him to become a part of the community again. Yeah, so we do different kinds of work. Wherever the need is in our minorities, we're there. We were also involved, you will remember of that colored boy that was shot in Eldorado Park in front of his house. He had Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And the police just shot him because he couldn't answer their questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were also involved there. So we go over the color boundaries.
Barrier. Yeah.
We act on all minorities that are oppressed by this Marxist communist regime.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Elsabe, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Look, and thank you for the sterling work you do. I mean, you know, without organizations like Patriots for Minorities, and the website is patriotsa.org. And if you are able to help with donations, please do. You can find the donate options on that page. But I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And please do say to Flippie and his family that the Loving Life family are praying for him, and that you know, we're aware of his case and we'll be supporting him how we can. And I just admire his courage, because he's clearly not going to be pushed off his entitled farm. It's his farm. He owns it. Which is what the EFF are trying to do to him. I think we actually call the EFF a terrorist organization. We don't recognize them as a political party.
Yeah, well, it's debatable, but yeah. I have my opinions, but I'm not here to give my own opinion tonight.
Okay. All right, Elsabe. Thank you.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for the coverage. Thanks for having me, and God bless. Hey?
You're very welcome. And look, please keep in touch with Marlena so we can cover any further developments with you.
Thank you very much.
All right. I just want to address the side chat. First of all, thanks to the moderators. I'll get that word right one of these days. moderators for the fantastic work that you guys do, just keeping the side chat clear. We've had quite a good audience tonight, up to about 600 people watching. And let me just get my ugly mug on here because you don't want a white screen. We've had about 600 people watching, which is great. And please get the message out there about what the South African Police Service are doing, getting away with in Umkamas. And we're talking about a particular police station here, which is clearly feral. Apparently Scottburgh, which is a neighboring police station, are really good and they do the right thing, but you know, you just need a few feral police stations to blow the reputation of the police across the country, and clearly Umkamas is one of them. All right, guys, please take care, have a great evening, and don't forget tomorrow night, I'm going to be having a great debate on this live stream at 8 p.m. That's Johannesburg time, between General Isaac van Zyl, the leader of Boeredission, and Neil de Beer, who is the leader of the new political party called UIM. And how that came about was that Isaac challenged Neil to a debate, and I put my hand up, as I know both of them well. We've had live streams with them here on the channel, and they both said they would love to come onto Loving Life and have a debate. So that's been prepared as I speak, and I hope to see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. Please take care, and I'll leave the side chat open for a few minutes so you can say your goodbyes and whatever before I shut down the live stream. Take care, guys, and don't forget, lovinglifetv.com is the new platform that we are moving to, because we just find the way YouTube treat their channels unworkable. I'll go no further than that. And on lovinglifetv.com, we're going to have a number of other YouTube channels joining us. They're going to be like associates or affiliates, but the theme will be South Africa, very similar to what Loving Life is all about. All right, guys, take care, and bye for now.